Chapter 4. The Grid. Riku surveyed the next world where he found himself. This time, his destination was nothing like anywhere he'd ever been before. Even the air felt somehow different. There was no natural light like the sun or the moon to illuminate his way, only the pale white-blue glow from the buildings and pathways. Riku then noticed that his own clothes were different too. "Is this world special?" he muttered, looking at the skin-tight bodysuit-like getup. It had lines of the same pale light running along it. He was even wearing a helmet. A light shone down on him from above, and when Riku instinctively looked up to see what it was, there was a large bridge-shaped transport ship, a recognizer, floating overhead with the searchlight focused on him. It was a strange machine in an even stranger world, and Riku eyed it with extreme caution. A lift descended from the recognizer, and two men wearing black suits with orange accents stepped out. Before he knew it, there were two more men in the same suits wielding staves behind him, making 4 altogether. All of them wore black helmets that hid their faces. "Another stray," said a man, a black guard, in an odd, muffled voice. Riku suspected it would be wiser to go with them than to resist at the moment. Though the black guards took hold of his arms, Riku shook off their grip and boarded the lift of the recognizer himself. Once they were on board, the vessel rose into the air and flew off towards somewhere. Another dark man in a suit similar to Riku's was beside him. He had brown hair and an intense look on his face. He seemed very different from the black guards. "Are you a prisoner?" he asked. "Yeah, it looks that way," Riku replied, and the man's expression softened a bit. Everything visible from the recognizer was dim and bathed in a pale light. "Name's Sam," the man introduced himself. "I'm Riku," he replied, before then asking a question of his own. "Where are we, Sam?" "We're on the grid," Sam told him. The grid. Riku had never heard of this world before. The recognizer passed between buildings during his exchange and came to a halt. Only Riku was brought down from the ship. Apparently, Sam was being taken to another location. Riku and Sam shared a glance, and Riku nodded before he watched the recognizer fly away. Before him lay a wide road, almost like a racetrack. "You're in luck. Only a previous few are granted light cycle battle privileges," someone said. When Riku turned to face whoever it was, he saw a man in a black suit with glowing orange lines, CLU, standing there. His lines were longer and more distinct than those of the black guards. He wasn't wearing a helmet like them either, so the cruelty in his face was clearly visible. One of the black guards beside him then approached Riku and handed him a stick-like object. "You gonna explain why it's so lucky?" he asked dubiously. "I'll show you." Two machines, light cycles, raced past Riku, and Riku noticed they had a stick on the front, like the one in his hand. How hard can it be? Riku broke into a run and split the stick into 2 handles, and a light cycle appeared around them. As Riku hopped aboard, the cycle accelerated with perfect timing and began speeding along the circuit. In front of him were light cycles with black guards aboard. He gave his own vehicle a sudden burst of speed and fired off a shot. Once he had grown accustomed to the speed of his light cycle relative to the others, as well as the trajectory of his projectile weapons, Riku landed hits on both of the cycles, which sent them crashing in spectacular fashion. There was a wall up ahead. "I think I've had enough entertainment for one day." This time, Riku fired on the barrier, destroying it and escaping from the designated path. Beyond the wall stretched a road that was smaller than the racetrack, yet still fairly wide. "Riku!" Someone called out to him. It was Sam. Looks like he was able to make a break for it too. "You made it! You escaped from the games!" "Yeah," Riku answered, climbing off the light cycle. "I know a way off the grid," said Sam. "Wanna come with?" Does that mean Sam isn't from this world either? "No, you go ahead." Riku still had something he needed to do here. He was glad Sam felt that way, but he couldn't go with him. Actually, he was worried about whether Sam even knew how to escape at all. "Wait, what's the way out?" "Through the portal." "Portal?" Riku reacted to the word. Joshua had also mentioned a portal back in Traverse Town. They connected worlds. Did something similar exist here? "Yeah, it's like a gate that opened when I came here. Once I'm back in the real world, I can delete CLU, and then my dad will be able to come home." "Your dad?" Sam was getting more and more heated, and Riku needed him to explain. He vanished 20 years ago when he came here to the grid. But because he needed to protect his disc from CLU, he went into hiding. He's been trapped there ever since. But I'm gonna change that. Though Riku was concerned for Sam and his mission to save his father, it was the portal that piqued his interest most right then. I see. Sam, you mind if I go with you after all, to the portal? Sure, I'll take what help I can get. But first, there's someone I need to meet. He's in the city. Sam said with a slight smile, looking toward the rows of buildings. Got it, Riku replied, then took off with Sam. They rushed through a major throughway and arrived at the city before too long, when Sam came to a stop. Kill some time before I get back, he told Riku, then went off to who knows where. Though his behavior was a bit worrying, Riku decided to roll with it for now. But as if they had been waiting until he was alone, Dream Eaters arrived. In the same instant, Meow Wow and Komoribat revealed themselves to protect him. Glad I get to fight more than boredom. Riku summoned his Keyblade and rushed into the battle. Right around that time, Sam was nervously watching a woman lying on the ground, Korra. She was completely motionless with her eyes open, like an automaton that had fallen still. A man wearing a brown robe stood in front of Sam. Your disc, Dad, it's gone. The disc and its priceless data had vanished from the back of the man in the robe, Sam's father, Kevin. It is. Unlike his son, Kevin replied with gentle calm as he walked over to the immobile Korra. She's stable. With that, Kevin stepped away from the girl and looked off into the distance. We have to go back, Sam pleaded. CLU will use it to reach the outside world. I can stop him from destroying it if you just let me do this. You've done enough already, Kevin barked. Sam looked down nervously, then asked the question he'd been wondering about. So what do we do now? I don't know. Nothing. We do nothing. Be still. Wait. You think we can just wait? Thought Sam. However, he wasn't sure what to do in this strange world. We can hop a solar sailor, a full-on sprint to the portal. We can beat CLU there, Kevin said, rethinking, then looked at Sam. Let's get her out of here. Kevin began to walk off as if his mind were made up, while Sam picked up Korra as he ordered. After Riku finished off the Dream Eaters, he heard a strange noise coming from the direction where Sam had gone. What? He ran toward the sound and found Sam carrying a woman in his arms, with another man beside him. Sam! He called. But the newcomer, Kevin, was the one who answered. Who's this? I'm Riku. Sam and I were on our way to the portal. Kevin shot Sam a glance as if to ask if Riku was telling the truth. When Sam nodded, Kevin seemed to understand everything. Come with us, he said to Riku. Where are we headed? The portal, but we need a solar sailor. There's one in the underground docks. With that, Kevin set off with Sam and Riku in tow. Once Riku and the others were safely aboard the solar sailor, they caught their breath as it departed the underground docks. Sam put Korra down, and a hologram shaped like a human face appeared from her chest. Kevin was touching and tapping the hologram, apparently investigating something, while Riku didn't know exactly what he was doing. He could at least tell that they were trying to fix Korra's body. Is she gonna make it? Sam asked worriedly. I don't know. But didn't you write her code? Was Korra a program then? Did that mean Kevin was Korra's maker? Some of it, but the rest is just beyond me. She's an ISO. ISO? Riku considered this unfamiliar term. A new life form, Korra is the last ISO. And you created them. They manifested like a flame. They weren't really from anywhere. The conditions were right, and they came into being. For centuries, we've dreamed of a pure existence beyond our own. I found them in here, like flowers in a wasteland. They were spectacular. Everything I'd hoped to find in the system. Control, order, perfection. None of it meant a thing. The ISOs, they were gonna be my gift to the world. Kevin explained reverently as he manipulated the hologram. Riku found the idea intriguing. A pure existence beyond our own. There, good as new. It's going to take a while for her system to reboot. The hologram vanished back into Korra. But Riku still had questions. So what happened to your gift? He asked Kevin. CLU.
CLU happened. He was built to create the perfect system, but endless potential can never ever be fully realized. CLU saw the ISOs as an imperfection, so he destroyed them. He screwed up.
Sam shook his head.
No, he's me. I screwed it up. Chasing after perfection, chasing after what was right in front of me. Right in front of me.
It was possible what Kevin meant were Sam and Cora. In his pursuit of perfection, he had lost something important, what mattered more than anything else. Look too hard for one thing and you miss everything else, and then the people around you get hurt in the process. Ansem the Wise was the same. His single-minded desire to learn more about the heart unleashed so much darkness on the world. We all have a little of that curiosity in us, so if we're not careful, that darkness could come from anyone. Riku looked up at the gloomy sky, only to spy a recognizer chasing them down. Its searchlight trained on the solar sailor. Great, they found us, Riku said. Sam and Kevin looked up.
We've been put on a new course,
said Kevin. It seemed the solar sailor had been stopped somewhere other than its original destination. Where? Cora, who had just regained consciousness, shook her head and got to her feet.
Don't worry about that. We're getting out of here.
Riku and the others hurried down from the solar sailor together. Unfortunately, a lone man in a black suit was observing the area. He wasn't quite the same as the other guards. This one was Rinsler. Cora suddenly removed the disc from her back. Goodbye. With that, she handed the disc to Kevin and suddenly darted away.
Cora! Cora! No, wait!
Kevin stopped Sam before he could go after her, and Rinsler caught Cora almost as soon as she rushed out of hiding.
She's removing herself from the equation,
Kevin said. Sam turned toward him.
We can't just let her go,
he replied firmly.
Yeah,
Riku agreed as well. But Kevin stopped them.
No, hold on, Sam. What about getting you to the portal? You shut them down from the outside. But Cora comes first, and we still have to get back your disc. Sam, if you chase 2 rabbits, you won't catch either.
They definitely weren't on the same page. Still, Kevin handling things on his own didn't seem like as much of an issue. Riku spoke up.
If this is a father-son thing, I won't butt in, but we should probably get that disc back at least, before CLU uses it to destroy the outside world. Come on, Sam.
Sam hesitated for a moment, but then...
Right, meet me on the flight deck and get us some wheels.
He eventually answered and sounded like he had an idea.
Wheels? What's your plan?
Kevin asked uncertainly.
I'm a user. I'll improvise,
Sam replied, and he hurried away with Riku.
Riku, I gotta save Cora too.
I know. We will. Riku nodded as Sam told him what he intended to do. Despite what he'd said, Riku couldn't just leave Cora to her fate after she had made a diversion for them.
The disc should be somewhere on the throne ship. I saw it dock here earlier. Over there.
A small vessel, the throne ship, was docked where Sam pointed. All right. Riku replied, and they dashed down the path leading to the ship and into the vessel. Sam walked up to the disc within, where it was affixed in the center of the deck. Unfortunately, an alarm went off the moment he touched it. The ship's doors opened, and Rinsler arrived, bringing Cora with him. Sam, go! She yelled, only for Rinsler to push her out of the way. He charged at Sam and Riku while removing the discs from his back. In the same moment, Sam brought Kevin's disc up, ready to fight, and he hurled it toward Rinsler at terrific speed. Rinsler dodged and suddenly bounded into the air, but Riku's keyblade slashed out and knocked their foe through the door. What are you doing here? Cora asked angrily, but Sam just told her where to go. To the flight deck. But the CLU will be here any minute. We'll never make it.
Don't worry, Riku's here to help.
Sam answered before picking up the disc and heading to the flight deck. The remaining 2 followed.
Hurry!
On the flight deck, Kevin was ready and waiting with the light jet. Once everyone was aboard, he launched the craft without further ado. They were going to the portal. The portal resembled a circular stage in the air, glowing blue. After passing through the entrance, 3 of the group stepped onto the path leading to the portal itself. However, CLU awaited them in the middle of the walkway.
This is mine.
Kevin stepped forward along the narrow path toward the portal, high in the air. One fall from here, and that would be the end of it.
Had a feeling you'd be here, he said to the CLU. You promised that we would change the world, together! You broke your promise, CLU shouted. That was when Riku realized something. Though there was some discrepancies like their ages and facial hair, they looked exactly alike. In other words, Kevin was CLU and CLU was Kevin. I took the system to its maximum potential, and now you see the applications at my disposal. As CLU grinned, a gigantic Dream Eater emerged behind him. The creature, which had arms like large scythes and a giant disc around its legs, was called Comantus. In the darkness and gloom, the Dream Eater shone out bright, as if to remind them that it wasn't part of this world. You can leave this to me. Raising his Keyblade toward Comantus, Riku charged. Meow and Komoribat chose that moment to make their entrance. Meow bounded a step ahead of Riku and then turned around toward him, tail wagging. Are you telling me to get on? Riku hopped into the air and then, using Meow's back as a platform, made another leap and swung down at Comantus's head with his Keyblade. The blow struck home, and he followed it with a blast of magic. When the Dream Eater let out a shriek and tried to cover its face with its scythes, Komoribat attacked from behind with some ultrasonic waves. Riku wasn't able to deal much damage thanks to the distance between him and the airborne creature. When he considered that there wasn't much space to work with either, accepting a helping hand appeared to be the best option. Komoribat! At Riku's summons, the spirit made a beeline to a point directly overhead. Help me out here! Riku extended his hand, and light burst from Komoribat, fusing with him and becoming his wings. Riku kicked off the ground once more, this time soaring into the air and delivering a series of attacks to Comantus in one go. However, he watched the Dream Eater fall still. Is that it? The power within Riku suddenly drained, and he sensed Komoribat separating from him. Almost as soon as he hit the ground, Comantus faded away in a flash of light. Gah! CLU roared after losing Comantus. I created the perfect system! The program shouted imploringly at his creator. The thing about perfection is that it's unknowable, it's impossible, but it's also right in front of us all the time. You wouldn't know that because I didn't when I created you. I'm sorry, CLU. I'm sorry. CLU's eyes narrowed for a moment when Kevin apologized, but they soon filled with rage as he dealt the older man a kick. He raised his leg again, but Sam tackled him to stop him. CLU hurled Sam down the path, closer to the portal. Cora took that moment to hurry over to Kevin. Go. Kevin ordered her in a quiet, gentle voice. Though she hesitated for a moment, she quickly leaped into the air and landed near Sam by the portal. Riku planted himself in CLU's path when the program tried to go after them. CLU came to a halt and glared at Riku. CLU, remember what you came for, Kevin shouted. CLU turned back and walked toward him as the pathway behind him began to crumble. There was no way to save Kevin now. CLU knelt down and pulled the disc off the injured Kevin on the ground. Gloating in his victory, he watched the data rising from the disc. No. But then his eyes went wide, and he let out a shout. Kevin had switched the data on the disc. No. Why? He's my son. CLU threw down the disc at this answer, then turned back and ran at Cora and Sam. He leaped over the missing pathway. Go! Kevin shouted, and Sam reacted. Dad! CLU had just barely managed to catch hold of the edge of the crumbled path. Sam, it's time! Kevin called out as he got to his feet. No! Sam, it's what he wants. Cora told the young man as she held him back and removed her disc. I'm not leaving you! Sam shouted again as Cora handed him the disc. Take her. Kevin called out with a small smile, his voice both loud yet somehow soft. Sam entered the center of the portal with Cora, then raised the disc aloft. Light washed over Sam and Cora, and then they were gone. Yes, goodbye, kiddo, Kevin said quietly. Were they able to hear his voice? CLU clambered up onto the path and dashed for the portal. Riku stepped into his way with Keyblade in hand. Don't even think about it. Just then, he saw Kevin place his hand on the ground on the other side of the severed pathway, and a circle of light rippled out from his body. In the blink of an eye, the light pulled CLU toward it and drew him into Kevin. For a moment, the air was thick with an indescribable tension as CLU returned to Kevin. The next, radiance engulfed everything around them. And then Kevin, Cora, and Sam were all gone. The light had disappeared from the portal. In those brilliant, blinding few seconds, fate had separated a father and son forever. The portal is gone.
These gates that connected worlds, maybe when we passed through them, were challenged and changed. And it's not over. There are more trials ahead we have to overcome. We'll be ready, Sora. Riku addressed his friend who wasn't there, then held out his keyblade to the keyhole floating in the air. No matter what trials waited beyond the gate, the only way was forward, and Riku ventured into the next worlds.